Oops, there we go. We're live now. Howdys and salutations, y'all. How have you been? Hopefully it's been a good couple of while for you. Sorry about all the gaps and jumps and odd dodges and dips and dives and so on. It's been a fun month for me. I've gotten to go to some conventions and do some fun things, but I am definitely ready to get back into a little bit more of a normal routine. And fortunately for me, normal routine means drawing and streaming. So this should be fun. And, seriously, if it weren't for the streaming, I'm sure I'd never get around to drawing. I, had to tear myself away from an Elden Ring YouTube video. I am more hooked on that game than I admit. Because it doesn't feel like I'm hooked on it, but I definitely am. I haven't even played it all that much lately, but, and it's not, with the intensity of a fandom, I don't know, I remember back when I was super into She-Ra, it's ooh! Yes, let's do this! She-Ra all the time, fun stuff, fan art, check out what people are talking about, memes, and so on. It's just I'm just oh, every time I circle around, to be oh, what should I think about today? Oh, Elden Ring again! And every time I get away from it, it's ooh, someone's talking about Elden Ring still. It won't die, which I guess is fitting, but given the whole eternal non-dying mechanic. But it's still fascinating. It's been enjoyable. Hope it's been enjoyable for y'all, at least. I know I've been a little overly hooked on it. I've got plenty of other stuff I'd like to actually do fan art of at some point. And we need to, at some point, just bite the bullet and move Mikola forward. But that's not today. Instead, today, I'm actually testing out a different type of style study. Well, not even a style study, just study. Something I ain't done ever, and which hopefully will be... I mean, it's in line with some of the other stuff we've done, but it's a little different. I found an interesting guide. Let me find the source before I go too much further. Okay. Sorry, I don't know if y'all can tell when I lean away from the mic like that or not. Anyway, I found a YouTube channel by the name of, and I'll chuck this in the YouTube video description too, but I'll go ahead and chuck it in chat here. YouTube... Asia Ladowska. I apologize for pronunciations there. And it's called The Art of Progress. Didn't spell that right, but whatever. Close enough. I spelled the channel right, that's the important part. I assume y'all probably know how to spell progress. You got that bit. And look, I don't know if it'll actually be a technique that'll improve progress, because they say routinely drawing badly is just reinforcing bad habits, but routinely not drawing at all is reinforcing not drawing. It's not that it reinforces nothing, it actively reinforces not practicing. So at some point, bad practice is better than no practice. At least it can keep you going until you can get into better practice. And, as I have found repeatedly, again and again, the more you build a consistent routine of something, you make improvements. Even if you're not optimally improving, you're still, incrementally getting better. Even if you go down some weird rabbit holes and have to come back from them. Net positive. Look, it's not like that's not the right tool at all. Not like the chart is just okay, here we go. The chart isn't just all the way up and you're perfect with it. If you're not doing optimal practice, sometimes it's up and back down, and then maybe you have a dip and then spike and so on. Maybe a plateau for a long time. But it's net good. Whereas not practicing is just a slow and steady decline into being worse at something. So, this is just a quick little 15-minute guide on drawing, but in addition to being a nice little 15-minute exercise you can just do any old time, basically, I like the process stages she uses, because this is the challenge for me, is sketching. Sure, I can do that, no problem, I can work that into my day. I mean, I still get busy sometimes, but you can fit that in. But digital art, it's I gotta set up the computer, and I've got different tools and complex processes and stuff I've overthought, and yada yada yada. And this had a really nice workflow of hey, if you want to be able to do a 15-minute digital art practice, just here's steps you can follow, rough ballpark times to aim for each step, and then knock yourself out. And I've been doing some of those. Look, I'm only on like day 5 or whatever, and they're hardly genius. But like, look, 15-minute sketches, they're better than the 15-minute sketches from Passpartout, and they're fun. So I've been doing some from Pinterest refs. I think that's a public list that I've got on my Pinterest right now of just the daily refs. Here's a couple from recently. And like, look, is this an amazing work of art? No. But, like, it is workable. Like, it looks decent. It doesn't look terrible. It looks like it could be made look pretty good. Like, you could add color very easily, or you could just stick with this gradient and clean things up. And I don't mean just clean it up perfectly. I kind of like some of the rough edge, like, stuff that we've been getting with this brush, which is my own touch. My own touch. It's the default Stinking Clip Studio paint brush. But it's the one I've been using instead of slightly cleaner lines, and I've been having fun with that. And like, look, obviously this has flaws, the neck ain't right, but it's got a good pose, the gesture's not bad. It is from a reference image, but even so, like, it actually captures the feel of the reference image. And another one that wasn't quite as good, but still captures the feel. It gets a little bit of lighting and shadow. I was doing this on a lunch break, so I, like, was... It's funny. Even though your timer is 15 minutes always, if you feel like you have something to do right after the 15 minutes, it feels more rushed, even though you literally have the same amount of time. So yeah, lunch break, maybe I do it at the start of the lunch break instead of the end next time. But yeah, no, I mean, these have just been fun. They're hardly all winners, but yeah, they're better than not doing anything. And they're a heck of a lot faster than spending 4 months on Mikola, which we're overthinking, and like, after all this overthinking, probably won't be like... Look, if this takes 15 minutes and Mikola takes 4 months, or even let's be merciful and only do hours. Let's say Mikola takes like 30 hours, which is probably still lowballing it, given the stupid amount of time we spent on that. Let's see, 30 is going to be, what? Not just 12 times longer, but like 120 times longer? It's not going to be 120 times better than these. Like, at some point, there's just massive diminishing returns. And if I just started, like, look, these have a ref, obviously. But if I just done some, like, studies on the statues of Mikola like this, and then gone in and been like, okay, let's sort of we've got a better idea of how Mikola looks, a bit more structure. We can, like, maybe not spend 16 hours on composition or whatever the heck we did and actually jump in here. So, yeah. I need to post these on. I need to get my socials sorted out. Now that I'm not, like, jumping between things, maybe I can, like, take this weekend and sort out my social media platforms again and all the notifications. We'll see. Because I'm also trying to prep for ArtFight, which y'all may have noticed, and a few other things. So, yeah, fun times all around. Biggest thing about this, though, is that it's, I don't know, it's a fun exercise that doesn't feel like bogging me down. And for me, so much digital art tends to be my least favorite art form, honestly. Like, I stream it because it's the easiest one to stream, but there's so many media where I get results that I'm happier with faster. I'm like, why do I have to do this? And I don't have to do this, but it's something that's worth learning anyway, and, you know, it's been fun enough, to say the least. We've gotten a lot of good things out of it. And it's one of those things I wanted to figure out how to do regardless. Anyway, the point is, this has made it so that the digital stuff isn't the drudgery it usually is. Like, I can pop the computer on, have this ready to go, like, really fast, and then just jump in and go. And that's been nice. But for today, we'll be doing some stuff like that, honestly. Partly because I need to warm back up and get into the swing of things a little more. And so I don't want to jump straight into stinking technical Mikola and burn my motivation out again. But also partly because, I don't know, it might be beneficial and it should be fun. Because we are juggling 2 things this month, because Mikola has taken so stinking long, he's running into our ArtFight prep, which is next month, by the way, if y'all are interested in ArtFight, and you should be. Stinking ArtFight. Do it. It's fun. I mean, look, you don't have to, but it's fun, you can do fan art, I found it to be most enjoyable. And it's good practice, good excuse to test things. Got to meet some interesting people last time, and so on. So, we'll be doing some updates. We've made new characters since last year. We'll get into this one in a second. That's just been me doodling around, really. So we're gonna mix the stream between just some fun Mikola stuff as a warm-up. It wouldn't have to be Mikola, but I figure it's a fun thing to do the exercise on. And then maybe we'll jump into some ArtFight, crack open the old character sheets, see what we can do better. For the record, the reference this is from, if you're not familiar with it, and this is, the stinking hat is just sort of garbled on there. Hat is not really part of this. But I have been having a lot of fun revisiting She-Ra, and so I've gotten entrapped to pose, because I realized that Salt's personality is sort of like stinking Entrapta meets Webby from the new DuckTales remake. Which, as you can imagine, in the D&D campaign, she's a stinking mess, but she's very fun. She's just a fun character. And, so I wanted to... I saw this Entrapta pose, and I was like, yes, that... it kind of fit my goal for, like, a not-quite T-pose that still is a good front view for a character sheet. But also, it just immediately had Salt. Like, the on the heels, ready to jump and move and go, like... That's just fun. Also, Entrapped is like my favorite character from She-Ra, so he's just fun too. I want to do She-Ra art sometime. My problem is that my original art style was like She-Ra was the show I learned art to do fan art of, and so my original style was just straight up copying from She-Ra because I was learning how to do it. And so I'm worried that if I go back to it, I'm going to fall into the old ruts and just like directly draw what's in She-Ra again. And so I'm trying to prep a little bit to make sure I don't do that. Also, we've got ArtFight, and I want to finish Mikola this stinking year. My hope, I can't guarantee it, my hope is that I'll finish Mikola before the next Elden Ring DLC news drops. They've obviously already announced a Mikola DLC since I started planning to draw Mikola. So, we're behind. But hopefully... I'm probably the only person on the planet rooting for please wait on the Elden Ring news updates, wait! But we'll get there, we'll get there. And I certainly don't want to slow it down for everyone else. It's not like my wishing vibes to wait on it actually impacts squat. Cut to the highly improbable 6 months from now, an announcement, they're like, well, we delayed the DLC because the fans were asking for us to wait on it, and it's just one stinking clip. That would be a disaster. Also, insanely unlikely. Oh, and I'd had, like, this note is just because I had a revelation, like, late at night. I was like, oh, what if Salt and Olavine's sort of rivalry, and I'd always imagined Salt being, like, the tall, lanky, nerdy one, but it kind of makes more sense if Olavine's the tall one and Salt is more, like, gremlin-y, just based on her personality. Yeah, like Webby. That kind of gremlin, not like an actual stinking D&D monster or something. But in any case, I've been rambling a bit. We'll get to what we want to do with this. I'll probably do a better rough of this pose. Though I have been having a lot of fun with trying to capture poses and gesture by doing the silhouette rather than like the simple lines, because I don't know. With lines, it gets so technical, and I'm thinking about like trying to capture 3D shapes with the lines or motion with the lines. Like when you're just blasting a silhouette in with a huge brush, you can't capture the details and think about that. So you just have to focus on, like, broad stroke shapes. And it's not perfect, but I have been getting better gestural art from doing it this way. So, things to think about. And that's one that digital is better than plain media, because I don't have a pencil that's got, like, a centimeter thick tip that I can just, like, go nuts on the paper with. That ain't gonna work. So, pausing that for a moment. Let us jump into here, jump into this one. Ooh, what is this? Not helpful. Kind of helpful. Not for what we're doing, though. Is this an inbox? Oh, okay, item bank. Makes sense. We haven't used that much. I don't see much reason to have that in here right now. Or this, actually. Let's keep it, let's simplify the menu and remove stuff that we're not using until we're using it. Hey! Yeah, we're gonna do some warm-up, and then I'm prepping, we've been developing character sheets. Good to see you, Great Dame. So we'll be doing some ArtFight stuff. I need to make new character sheets for Salt. Honestly, yeah. I mean, you can... Thinking all the ArtFight characters can still be comfort characters. I mean, thinking, why not? Let's see. Oh, man. It is a reminder of, like... I hope we've come far enough that we'll be doing Salt better. And then I want to get at least Olavine and Siphomir's characters on here. Because, like, I don't know, I want to have some more options and not just Salt. And I'd like to think we've come a long way from this. Like, this is not... My art ain't perfect, but it has improved since these days. Yeah, D&D characters are great for this. Oh, jeepers. Like, I still like Salt a lot, but this character... Oh, no, the proportions are a disaster. Oh, boy. Okay. We'll work on that. We'll get to that. Gonna do a few warm-ups real quick before we get into anything like that, though. I can pop this out, right? And, like, make it not a weird... Whoops. Make it a size that's useful. We're gonna... Where did I... No! Put it right back. We're gonna do some quick sketches of... I hate to say quick sketches of Mikola, given how cursed that is, but this is totally different from what we've been doing. We're just gonna do some actual, like, quick and easy warm-ups. No, don't go in the palette. Just go over here. Stay over there. But how have you been? How are things going with you? I know I've been away for stuff lately, so I'm excited to be sort of back in the thick of things with people again. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna set myself a little timer, and we'll go. Hey, no shame in that. That's a lot of fun. Let's see. It's been a long time since I've had, like, a proper fandom I can hyperfixate on. I say drawing an Elden Ring character stinking again. But, generally speaking, it's been a while. So it's fun. It's fun when you get those opportunities where you can just go all in on something for a while. Even if that something is a thing. I mean, you didn't have to say, I kind of knew. No shame in that, though. I used to love those books when I was in middle school. And it's not to say they're a middle schooler only thing, it's just been a long time since I've been, like, part of that fandom so much. But those were fun. Those were, like, the early days of YouTube animations and stuff. Like, people were just out there doing totally basic stuff and having fun and, like, learning and things and getting better at it. Always awesome. Careful. If you only get halfway there, you land squarely in the furry fandom, which, you know, is fine in its own right. But is definitely a different challenge. Although, I don't know, every furry I've met have all been lovely people. There we go. Let's really get the gnarliness of this arm going in here. I feel like it is, like, pure chance that I didn't end up in the furry, like, whole fandom community. Like, I definitely ran in, like, some of those circles back in the old internet days. Like, I was in all the brony stuff, and, like, I don't know, old internet just had all that stuff, had it going around. Like, and I knew people in high school who were furries, so it's not like it was some distant internet thing. So, like, that super could have been me. It's funny, like, I feel like I've been on the internet long enough and seen trends change and, like, discovered stuff that existed back in the past, and I'm like, wow, that was almost my life. If, like, one tiny thing had gone differently, I would have been that person. I don't want to focus too much on this hand. We'll come back to it. I'm liking the thumb. Thumb got fun gnarl. The rest, we'll work on it. I don't think I have. Man, it's been a long time since I saw a Jackie Chan movie. It's been a long time since I've seen most movies. I need to watch more movies. Hold on, where's the elbow joint? It's like here. Cool. Yeah, well, I mean, you sort of expect that going in. Like, any movie that's been around even, like, 10 or 15 years, like, I feel like the whole cultural milieu, or whatever you call it, is, like, changed so much. And 90s humor can be fun, when it's done well. Oh no. Okay, never mind. 90s humor isn't always good. There we go. That'll do. Yeah, I can't imagine having to actually, like, put up with that. But and he did for a long time. Focusing too much on detail. Oh, good. Song lyric beef? Given my excellent song credentials, I mean, I definitely didn't think Friday by Rebecca Black and Baby 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 by Justin Bieber were the same song for 4 years. Like, definitely I'm the person to talk to about this. Oh no. I'm afraid of which song lyrics you've even found at this point. Let's... I've got some new stream background music that I'm enjoying just because it's different. At some point hearing the same songs for, like, days on end, like, gets a little old. But you'll have to fill me in on what the song lyric gossip is. And I suppose I'm really not the kind of person who should be complaining about repetitive music either, because I once left one song running just, like, in my room 24/7 for 2 months because I liked it so much. Like, while I was awake, while I was asleep, I checked. This was back when I used, like, that YouTube knockoff website. It wasn't a knockoff. It was a website that you could put a YouTube URL in, and it would just loop the song before YouTube had a loop feature. And it was like, you have 24,000 plays on this song. I was like, oh, do I? Ooh. I like that song. Somehow. I should really stop messing with braids and just actually finish drawing this. Oh no. And based on what you said, I can hazard a guess at what's gone wrong with the song, to be fair. Okay, Moog, let's actually take a look at this, see what we're up against. Those lyrics aren't that. What? Those don't even make any sense! Pardon my lack of musical aptitude, maybe with context would help, but what's the subject of the verb wanna kick it? Can we, sorry, you found a grammar nerd, can we diagram the sentence real quick? Here, I'm pausing, like, let's see. I don't remember how to do those old, like, pencil diagram things. It's like, I don't remember how any of that stinking works. Did y'all ever have to do those? No, I did parse that. I figured that much out from the asterisks. Doesn't really clarify things. Is it that someone wants to kick the sushi? Or Japan? Or do they mean kick it like kick back? And are they trying to imply that Jackie Chan is their seaside? Or, like, are they informing Jackie Chan of this knowledge that they ordered sushi and someone wants to kick it? I'll admit, I'm a little lost. I mean, look, I'm a proponent of languages evolve depending on how people use them, and I am a big fan of naturally evolving language. Which means I'm also a fan of stinking vague grammar, but I genuinely don't know what that sentence is supposed to say. like, greetings, I just ordered takeout. Now, someone wants to kick my takeout. Jackie Chan, will you help me? Someone's trying to kick my takeout. Will you take out my takeout, taker-outer? This is a terrible bit. I'm gonna stop. I genuinely don't know what it's, but what's going on with that sentence? And I mean, I don't know the rest of the song. I don't know if they're saying if they're trying to claim that Jackie Chan is Japanese or not. Like, honestly, that could mean stinking anything. Yeah. Hey, as long as you're vague, nobody can accuse you of being wrong if they can't figure out what you're wrong about. Made the hand, like, way too long and spindly. Let's just casually zip this. Oh, did I start my timer again? I forgot to start the timer again. Oh, whatever. This will be 15-ish minutes. Close enough. Oh, yeah. Go do them dishes. Okay, let's see. I think we figured that this was faster last time. Still debating the importance of this step. I guess there's like actually probably supposed to be. Okay, hold on. Let's. Got that. Let's shift so that we can add to our selection. Let's undo that add. This, add the, oh gee, making a mess of this. I should have just used the select brush, it's so much easier. Ah! Because some of this is so wispy, I don't know if it's gonna if we're gonna want to like full color fill it or not. I wonder if there's like a, I mean, obviously I know about the remove select tool itself, but I wonder if there's just like a hotkey that lets us unlasso. Oh, shrink selection. What does that mean? Ah, no. Okay. Oh wait, hold on. If I shift with this, it adds, and if I unshift, it removes? Ooh, learning new things about the tools. Probably have like some color in it, but like, oh, that's so much faster than any of the old workflows I used. Oh man. I don't have to constantly tool switch. Ah, well. Zoom back out here. That's not the zoom, that's the zoom. We're gonna make a new layer, clip it onto this one so that we can't draw too much outside the lines. Let's maybe chill on that size just a little bit. Oop, I'm still on the select tool. No wonder. Let's maybe unchill on that size a little bit, because we've got 2 minutes and change to make some tangible progress here. Which is frankly not looking super likely. We can get like a little bit going on here. There'll be some highlights on this if we have time. Make that match up, sort of. Okay, the Mikla himself ought to be fairly light. Oops, except not quite that part. Gonna hide that layer entirely. We don't need it anymore. Not for what we're doing. But I didn't have to worry too much about the fingers, so I was gonna do the cleanup at this stage anyway, huh? I'm just trying to get... I know I didn't with the initial thing, but I'm trying to just get like material colors in here first. And then we will come back and actually get shadow colors and such, but so much of this is dependent on the shadows anyway that like, maybe I should just do that. I spent too much time on all the fun, frilly line work. A lesson that I keep having to teach myself over and over again. I'm never gonna learn it though. Sorry, it ain't gonna happen. Okay, there we go. We've at least got flat colors in here, and we've got 41 seconds. So now, let's stinking shade the heck out of some of this. Don't know why I even bother with the flats if I was gonna have to reshade such large chunks of all of this. But like... all of that in shadow, of course, 20 seconds. Everything happening under here, of course, in shadow as well. And this between the finger bit that I now have to do again. Some of this even getting into considerably deeper shadows, although not quite Mocan shadow. Okay, my timer has gone off. I'm going to cheat and do like a little highlight here, and then we're done. So, does this look great? No, not really. But, was it 15 minutes, and did it capture the gist of it? Yeah, it kind of did. I mean, look, that's a 15-minute sketch that does capture the feel, and has a lot more, like, actual style feel to it than anything we've done intentionally. This one, of course, probably being the hardest, what with, I don't know, really intense light and shadow, and a lot of detail, because that's a really nice piece. Part of their intro cinematic. However... I have more. And some of them are a little simpler than this. Let's do a new folder. Let us mark it as just one. Let's hide that away. We're moving on. This is taken from a Vati video, mainly because I didn't want to have to fight my way through stinking Rivendell again. Rivendell of Murder. As beautiful as Rivendell of Murder is, this particular room is one that's just, like, kind of... Like, I know where these are. And as soon as I saw it in the video, I was like, oh, I know where that is. I just didn't notice the statues, because fighting inside those rooms is not fun, so I, for the most part, didn't go in them. I just stayed on the roof. Because it's just a whole bunch of, like, the slow zombie dudes where they're, like, mostly not fun to fight, and if they last long enough, they just grab you, and then, like, it hurts. I mean, look, I get it's a fighting game, obviously, like, you know, but but they're tedious, because they take forever to kill, and if you mess up once to a grab attack, which for me at least is like the easiest thing in the world to mess up on, just because I'm bad about I don't overcommit as bad as some people do, but I definitely still overcommit on some attacks, especially when I'm getting tired, and especially when I'm trying to get group hits. So these guys are like the perfect bait to get me to make stupid decisions and get grabbed. I'd probably be fine. Like, honest to goodness, other than the branches, I actually really loved everything to do with the Halig Tree. I even didn't hate the swamp inside of it. I mean, look, I didn't love it. Okay, I know I just said I really loved everything to do with it. Most things. The swamp inside it is like, it stinks, but you can just sprint past it, so it doesn't stink that bad. I'm sure it literally smells like stinking awful. It's like a blood swamp or something, but I guess it's not a blood swamp. It's a rot swamp. It's not the biggest rot swamp, though, and honestly, the other rot swamp was really not that terrible either, because I didn't bother fighting the one boss in it. I just sort of walked past. He was pretty chill. And he did not have anything that interested me, and I really didn't have all that much that interested him. So, it worked out. We were good buds. So, why don't we kick that timer off again? I'm sorry I don't have the timer on the screen. I'm just using my, like, desk timer that I keep around. Okay, so let's see. That's already much too long for what that line is. I should be using, like, a considerably larger bit. There we go. There we go. Like, this is really as long as that line is. Got kind of like the head shape. And I'm trying to... They sort of did this in the tutorial, but whether it was intentional or not, it has helped me to, like... Oops. Like, kind of think of the hair and head, like, separately, even in the silhouette phase. For example... Oh, jeepers. Right, this is just a raster layer. I should just, like, get a big eraser and go at it. Yeah. You know, it's pretty sharp. But, like, I don't know, it has, even though it's at least, like, sort of separated, even when they're technically not, has been helpful for me. Jeepers, there's a lot of this silhouette that's just buried inside of it. It's really not a very good silhouette drawing, is it? Ah, but a belt. I can work with a belt. Yeah, we're probably gonna have to stray more than usual from this one, but that's okay. For starters, let's actually, like, fit it on the darn canvas. Got a little more going on up here. Is frankly too tall, and it feels too wide proportion to the body, but I'm gonna leave it alone for now, because, like, that's not my priority. I'm actually gonna up to 100, because we've drawn this kind of big. Even my line weight big is helpful. Prevent me from going AWOL and trying to do too many fine details, sort of like we did last time. That's probably too much in curve for what this is, but, you know. Whoops, let's go back to our lovely vector eraser. Just chop that. We'll leave it at that. Really don't need a ton of detail on that part. Don't need a ton of detail on most of this. We can add it if we think it contributes. I think these folds are helpful for... A, I like fabric folds, and B, they do kind of give the feel of the fabric a little bit, so... Yeah, I thought the back was too big. I just didn't want to commit to that until we had the sleeve, like, kind of placed in here. Cool. Statue kind of has weird elbows. And it is supposed to be a weathered statue over time, so yeah, you know, not a complaint. Okay, hold on. We can do actual fingers, but we just don't want to waste our energy on them first. Like that line's getting a little too long again. The arm probably arcs too much, just in general. It should be more of a straight shot. Okay. Let's see. And in case y'all haven't noticed, my new music is like mostly Stardew. I learned that the creator is cool with people using it in their videos. And frankly, I love the music. It's really good. Stardew is one of those games, much like Terraria, that I've like turned so much around on. Like, I used to hate Stardew, I'll be honest. Like, I'm sure I've mentioned this before on stream, but I got so caught up in like trying to do all of the things, like, and meet deadlines and stuff. Like, before I didn't even know all the stuff you could unlock in the game. I just knew that, like, supposedly someone showed up on year 3 and I was like, oh crud, that's my deadline, I have to get everything perfect by then. And so I was constantly stressed, striving to unlock things and then getting frustrated when there was new stuff, because like, no, it's another thing I have to finish before my deadline. It was a really stupid way to play the game. There we go. But I didn't know that at the time. And while I still haven't technically finished it, I certainly enjoy it a lot more. And it no longer stresses me out trying to hit that crazy deadline. Because, I mean, look, there's stuff that if you don't know about, like, crop quality, like, the quality crops bundle is going to absolutely wreck you. Like, I bet you a lot of people, if you don't, like, understand how to get the fertilizer and stuff, you don't even, like, know all the crafting recipes you're gonna unlock, the stuff you should prioritize. Like, it's way, first playthrough is way too much to, like, really strive to, like, do everything. I feel like the original has more of a hunch. Like, that's actually sleeve over there. I want to fix these hands a little bit. Like, I know I said we wouldn't spend too much time on this, because we want to get to the next stages. And I've already, you know, as I think most people do, spent too much time on line work. Oh, the big chin just makes it look like so much of a not a child face. That's better. I don't like keying that. Yeah, that's better. Okay. And I don't know why. It's not like a laziness or a judgment thing, but when I see hands that are just drawn like that, well, that looks stinking creepy, but like where it's just a circle with 2 lines in it like a loaf of bread, I don't know why, but I usually find it like takes me out of the art piece more than most style choices. So it's a perfectly lovely style, and a lot of very like good artists do it. Because, you know, I like a lot of cartoon style art, and so I see it a lot. It's not a bad thing. It just isn't really what I like going for. But it also means that, like, I don't want to accidentally shorthand it into these, because, like it or not, And we talk about good and bad practice, and like I said at the start, any practice is better than, you know, no practice. But if I can catch a habit that's forming early, you know, it's still good to. And so I'm trying to catch myself from doing that by accident, just because I know that I personally don't really go for how those results usually turn out. So I don't want to accidentally train myself to do it that way. Now, this elbow's frankly kind of silly, and it's just because I was trying to follow the silhouette when I really shouldn't have been doing that. Okay, so let's... I mean, this one really is just like one base color, so it does kind of make sense to try to silhouette the whole mess out. And take our time. Best art pieces are the ones I do where I'm just like taking my time to do it, to do what I want to do on it, and not like panicking about the time. Even when it comes to timed pieces, if I'm like fretting about the time, it goes worse, because I'm wasting energy fretting about the time instead of, you know, actually doing it. Kind of silly how that works. True of like essays and pretty much any other project too. It's like when you're on a timer, if you fret about the timer itself, it actually makes the situation worse than acting like you're not on a timer. So let's fill a new layer, throw that under here. And then I'm gonna keep the shadows pretty gentle on this one because, you know, for the most part they are. Like there's, you know, like a little bit going on in the sleeve, and there's some stuff happening in the back. Let's see. I'm gonna make it a new layer though, that way I can just clip it, because in case the shadows turn out bad, you can always revert. That's always gonna be an option when you do this. And, you know, it means that you can erase shadows and stuff and not have to worry so much about damaging the underlying thing. It just makes it easier and faster in the long run. So I don't have to worry about, like, the edge. Let's see. I've got its own thing going on. This is like a softer shadow. See, we got way more time because I wasn't, you know, spending ages messing around with silly details this time. Okay. A little bit of soft shadow going on here. Get too carried away with it though, because obviously there's still some weird proportion things happening with this, so got the slightly harsher shadows on like the cheek and the chin going on here as usual, like some pretty harsh ones right under it because of where this light source is. So that. A little more roundness in the cheek there, and then really not much else because the light is pretty directly on the face. We'll catch the nose a little bit. How are we doing on time? Not bad. Part where I'm thinking like, I could have probably spent a little more time like detailing the hairline work, but if I'd done that, then we wouldn't be doing this yet. And when we did do it, it'd probably be kind of rushed. So, like this area's got a really bold highlight, so I'm going to start with this, and then we're going to sort of build out from it. Like build brighter and brighter. That plane's getting hit pretty much directly on, so there's that. I'll even like, because some of this is just like fully blown out, washed out bright, so that's true a little bit on the fingertips and stuff too. You can sort of see there's like degrees where the light's hitting. Areas that are a little lighter on the cloak. The collar here. Front edge of the hair. A little bit on the top of the arm. And like honestly, I'm probably getting like a little too into some of it. Getting too into the weeds on some of this. But like I don't know. Line work could be better, but it's recognizable, and the lighting's not looking bad, so let's actually just scoot on to another thing. Unfortunately, not a lot in the way of color on this piece. I don't know, normally this is when I'd bother with color, but the color is just hyper washed out. Wait, I don't want that. Nope, I don't want that. I never know which one is the one that I stinking want. I need to... No, because that's still losing some of it. Like anything that's darker is just getting lost with this. No. I looked all this up like not that long ago. We can just use it for the stinking value. I don't know. Where's value? Hue, saturation, where's my V? Oh. Oh, functionally it's brightness. Okay, yeah, there's that. You could probably even go for like slightly warmer but still bright, yeah. No. Okay. There, that feels better. We got 47 seconds left, but not a ton else to bother with. And we can always go for the decorative. This is another thing they did in that video. Got 28 seconds left. I'm sure I can fit a rectangle in here. You know, something to make it pop a little bit. That kind of works. Or we could get it behind him. I'm just messing with this at this point. I feel like if it extends too far back, it looks like it's kind of just like it's gaming. Yeah, that's not bad. We'll leave it at that. Oh, and my timer goes off. I'm sure y'all can probably hear that. Okay. Oh wow, 8:58 already. Time does fly when you're having fun again, don't it? Let's put that away from now. These have been some nice quick little warm-up doodads. Let's see. I'll mark that one as 2. Got number 1 that we didn't get real far on. Oh, we got further than I'm going, but, you know. Kinda died somewhere in the shading part, and halfway shaded stuff just ends up looking blobby, so, yeah. There's something to be said about just having the color fill, but yeah. So you can see, like, look, is this great? No. Did we sort of capture the feel of something really quickly and get shading and lighting on it? Yeah, we did. Did we get more interesting shapes, even if they're not perfect? Yeah. So doing this as sort of the start of a bigger project might be a better way than all those crazy composition things. Now, I realize this is from a ref, so I'd like to practice some of these where we're trying, like, where we've got a pose ref, but not necessarily a character ref. We'll get to that in just a minute here. But before we do that, I think that we're going to have to take our quick pause because it is already 9 o'clock where I'm at. So before we come back and do shorter salt, theoretically shorter salt, I'm sure I'm going to get caught up in the Entrapta stuff. Let's see. Oh, right, because I closed the pane. Oops. Oops. View. Was it under view? Is it under window? Cool. Ah, no. Do I want to show all palettes? I probably don't want to. Nope. Workspace. Okay, hold on. It's been a long time since we've done this. It's still June. We'll just call it this, because we've shifted a lot since some of our old workspaces. This is June 23. Okay, I guess... Like, we were still all on the left, but this is definitely a different layout with much less collapsed. I know that was recent. Go back to V3. Takes us to another very somewhat different layout. It's not crazy different, but it's a little. Go back to this one. We're getting, like... Okay, yeah, I guess I've been fairly consistent for a long time, huh? That showing up on stream okay? Yeah, it is. Okay. Of course, if we go to, like, the default workspace... all different. Very different. A lot of stuff I don't like to use on this workspace. And a lot of stuff in places that I don't like it. So, I kind of like the workspace that we've built out for ourselves. Register workspace as material. I've tried to figure out the benefit of that. I'm curious what that would do. Does that let you, like, export it? I don't know. And what's the illustration default? Oh. Not terribly different from the one we actually use. Unless that's one we created, but no, these are our custom ones. So anyway, yeah, let's get back to this. With our lovely collapsibles going on. Well, I mean, I pretty much always keep this layer section going. It probably doesn't need to be full height. We could maybe move the navigator back over there, but, like, I don't know. Because that sure as heck doesn't need to be full height. I almost feel like if I wanted, like, an actual, like, reference image, I would want it to be in a different section from the navigator. Because the stuff in the navigator I actually care about are these tools. And the ability to flip the frame and stuff much more easily. Woo! Cool, that worked. Wasn't sure we were gonna reset that where we oughta. Whoa, okay. Anywho, we've been messing around with that. I still haven't actually re-added the tool that I want. I don't remember the name for it. Oh, that's interesting. Ooh, tiled. Oh, that's interesting. Yes. Window. New window. Oh, wait. Oh, it just sets up the tile. Okay. I can still put them back. Can't do cascade, though. Interesting. More things to learn about. But not the thing I'm looking for. Ah, okay, hold on. Subview. We'll leave it like this for now. I realize the subview doesn't do much for y'all anyway, because my logo goes right stinking over it, but like, the little tiny upper view, I realize it's good to get a holistic view of the thing, but like, the sizes we're working with, it's not usually critical that we do that. Let's see, oh yeah, I was messing with the poses. Very quick warm-ups. Okay, these will be, you know. Let's see. I'm just gonna call that setup. Well, I don't hate that Entrapta one, actually, but we're gonna, you know, try to actually do this a little less bad. In our subview, let's pop open Entrapta. Oh, it's on my actual desktop. 1 second. Refresh. I never figure out what causes some stuff to show up here and some to not. Do I need to put it on the correct side of my desktop or something? Nope. Okay, well, you'll have to just trust me that I haven't trapped a picture open. Sorry about that. I think it's like the first one on the wiki too. Like, it's not like it's some crazy hard to find thing. Yeah, Entrapped a reference. In any case, before we get too caught up in all of that silliness, let's see. Go back to our lovely grayscale color set. A reasonably-ish sized canvas. I'm gonna want like a 200 for this. We've got some detail we actually need to capture on it. And yeah, we'll pause stream for just a few moments so everyone can use the restroom, get some water, be right back. And see you in a bit where we actually do some ArtFight prep. Howdys and salutations, y'all. I am back. Let's see. So, in case you missed the first little part, although I doubt anyone did, but in case you're skipping through the VOD or some such, we've been having a little fun with very, very quick drawings. Obviously these aren't genius, but having a little bit of a timer forces us to actually style. You sort of end up stylizing when you're going fast, although I still want to work on more intentional stylization. I've got some guides for that and I'm practicing, but the bigger thing is you can capture an idea pretty darn quickly when you're on a timer, as opposed to nitpicking over every fine little detail. If you can get to a pretty good stage and like have an idea of where you like, I don't know, if you can get to this in 15 minutes, then you can refine that into something a lot more. Even if you can just get a rough pass at the line work done in 15 minutes, that's still like leagues better than spending hours and hours on it. And frankly, it's kind of more fun. Although I mean, I love the Melania illustration. It was so fun to do. But obviously that has not been repeatable with Nicola in terms of the fun. So rather than getting overly bogged down in it, I've been trying to find some strategies to help us get to the end in a way that'll be satisfying but not arduous. So, coming back to this ArtFight character sheet, we'll see if it all fits on this one canvas. I've learned there's ways to update the canvas size, so we'll, you know, probably have fun with that. What I'm planning to do, and this is probably not going to happen in 15 minutes, but my goal is to have the line work, or at least functional line work, in 15 minutes. And then, unlike some of the other ones, we may pause, tweak some things, and then go on. But editing is easier than writing, and tweaking line work is a lot easier than drawing it in the first place. So, that is sort of the hope with this, too. So, for anyone wondering, our reference for the pose is going to be Entrapta, once again. I mean, heck, we'd even done some of that in this setup folder. Right, we're aiming for shorter salt. I'm going to try to capture this pose. I'm going to try to get it shifted into salt proportions, so we'll see if that falls in our 15 minutes or if we want to pause and do some tweaks for that. And then we'll jump into the line work. And we're going to go back to our ArtFight reference for that, which I can probably throw in chat, would be easier. Thinking turn into Porky Pig every time I'm thinking. Alright, so there's that. Wait, why is that dot salt? That's not a... Huh. They have this set up funky like. Yeah, no, that works. Here's salt. Hopefully that doesn't give y'all like login permission to edit salt or something. That'd be awkward. Copied the pleases from other folks, because there's a lot of different people who've done this well and set up this stuff in advance. So we shall see. Let's see. Really ought to update the credits towards some of the actual inspirations. I mean, it's still definitely an original character, but you know, I've gotten inspiration from a few different ones. Interesting tags I chose. Moss. Maybe I ought to rethink some of these. Anyway, before we get too caught up in the old ArtFight, just a reminder, the refs we're working off of for that look like this. They're a little dated. Y'all can go catch the VODs if you missed these streams back in the day. But, yeah. Could be better. Could be so much better. This has been my ongoing struggle for the past year, and I finally figured out not a solution, but a smarter way to think about it. As I have been torn by trying to get better at actually representing things, you know, which means getting better at somewhat realistic, naturalistic drawing, because you figure out the proportions and the structure of objects. And on the flip side, cartooning things and making them look fun and simple and enjoyable and clean. I really like clean art, whether that's lineless or whether it's like well-done lines or what have you. So this you can see even between the two poses, there's like just a lot of like this one. I was like, well, I want to get with the fabric folds and the wrinkles and the details, and I want to have like proportions, and so it's like this pose. I feel like the shadows on those hands have led to some very weird looking thumb angles. Ugh. I mean, that's still a pose you could do, it just looks uncomfortable. Or like at a weird angle with the shadows and lighting. Anyway. And then on the flip side, this one, it's like, well, but even look at this. I went for more detail on the sleeves and tried to make the hair move and went for like a, I don't know why I was, oh, I know why I did that. I'll get back to that, why that's reddish. But then less detail on this, cleaner edge, which I think actually this does look better than this one. Because these are just sort of random wrinkles. They're not really following the shape of whatever's under it. Anyway, the point being... Oh, before we move on. It's reddish because I was experimenting with... They say shading and highlighting pops better when you don't just do, like, gray masking over things, or things masking over gray, but you actually, like, shift the color a little bit so you've got contrast, which is true. It frequently makes it pop more, and given that I like a more bouncy, colorful style, it's definitely what I'm wanting to lean towards. But I didn't understand it right at that one. I didn't really have a very good comprehension of color, saturation, value, hue, any of it when I was doing that. Those were like grabbing stuff off the color wheel that kind of looked decent after trial and error. Skin tone is very inconsistent. It was a mess. But like I was trying to counter shade with red, which does make that look... I feel like if we'd had this skin tone with maybe some of the red counter shading, it would have been... Anyway. Point is not to go through and critique our old art, although we can certainly do that, and I'm excited that we've come far enough in that time to be able to identify not just what's off, but why it's off. Because that's the hard thing. Like, it doesn't take long at all to nitpick your art and be like, oh, this looks bad. It takes longer to understand what looks wrong and even longer to figure out how to fix it. I'm not sure we're fully in that third category yet, but I think we're better. So, we'll put away the setup ones for now. I've set up some layers. Here's my ultimate goal with this character sheet. When it's finished, it will have all these layers. Might have a separate set for the back view, we'll see. But the point is, we'll have silhouette, which is sort of my goal. We do that quick. Line work, we'll do some very quick stuff. Flats, we'll do some quick stuff. Then I'm going to do shadows and highlights, sort of like we've been doing. But, getting back to that counter coloring thing, I want to go back afterwards, figure out our base hues, have those mapped to the flats, and then for the shadows and highlights, rather than having them be like just gray, having the saturation of having one hue across the board and having the saturation change. I'm going to actually try to get into some slightly different hues so that we get a little more pop. We'll see if it works. I was testing that. I remember we were looking at that very briefly on Melania and went way too extreme, which still looked kind of interesting pop arty, but not what we were going for. So, we'll see. But first off, before we do any of that, we'll see how much of this we keep, but I'm going to have a go between Entrapta and our ArtFight link to just get this, do what we've been doing. Get one of these 15-minute things and just knock it out. I am going to up... Whoops. I upped it to 15 in 3 seconds. I'm actually going to up the time to 20. Ah, rats. I jumped past it. One of those timers where, like, you can only go up. You can only increment. You can't decrement, or you can't increment negatively. And so you just have to reset it if you go past. Which is fine. It's still been a wonderfully reliable timer. I'm very happy with it. So, I'm going to set that to 20. Just so that I have time to try to alter proportions a little bit, because that's going to be new from what we've been doing up to this point. Got our brush at A size. I don't want to cut the entire layer. And, yeah, why don't we kick this off? Boom. Timer is set and ticking. Okay. So, jeepers, we really don't have a ton of space on this vertically, so I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit. I'm just going off of Entrapta right now. I'm going to adjust once we get to Salt, because the silhouette is going to be different, but I just want to sort of get this Entrapta silhouette first. I feel like I need to go to a slightly larger brush. I'm getting too caught up in details, and that's not really useful. Let's see. This. Kind of like arcs in and then back out. Even bigger. My point is that I want the soft one to still be large. Like, obviously, the going full pressure can be heavy. But the goal with this is that I can do soft lines and still have it be, like, a little bit too big for me to do, like, nitpicky details. Okay, so got kind of that. This is definitely starting out as just the Entrapta one. The hardest part of this one is making sure, with the feet angle, that they both look like they're actually on the ground. Okay, so there we go. We can just get a very quick arm. I've just got these big old gloves, like Yzma-looking gloves. Angle still not right on that, because that looks. I think I've got too much. Oh, I need like more counter between. No, because it's kind of 3/4 view. Okay, let's leave that alone for now and trust the silhouette. That Yzma glove again. Sizable head because it's Entrapta. Not that she's big-headed, but just because she's not Salt's age, she's a little older. I meant that as a because she's not Salt, not specifically because she's Entrapta. And I'm not going to go and do all of the hair because it's like crazy silhouette. Stinking fun to do though. We're doing it seriously. We do it differently. Okay, so we've got Entrapta now. Okay, part of it's. Hold on. Comparing these. I need to exaggerate one angle that I didn't really exaggerate. And that is this direction. Some of that. And also to an extent this. Let that angle be where that lands. This arm sort of be like that. Really lean into it. Gonna do a little bit of a refresh on this. The overthinking begins. Whoa! Interesting what happens when you control click while you're doing that. Okay. Like hat edge there for now. Whoa. The wrong thing. Okay, we're gonna have to get rid of that word balloon later. I'm gonna lean into this a little bit. And that gives us a little more lean, although I feel like this original one still did it better, weirdly. Tempting to just use this one and change the proportions. I'm gonna just use this one and change the proportions. That's fine. Let's get in here. We still want Salt to be considerably shorter, all things considered, so... Wow, that's a lot of consideration. Thinking about general leg angle. I feel like it's got too much shape, but we'll see. Trying to keep this devoid of Entrapta specific details, and now more of a Salt thing. Let's see. Whoop. Oh, that's cool. Not what I want to do, but cool. There we go. There we go, that feels better. Narrow some of this a little. Why am I doing this when I should be doing it on the line work layer if I'm going to tweak that? Okay. Enough of that. Enough fidgeting with that. We have to move on. This is what the timer's for. Otherwise, we'd still be on the other version and still be going nuts. So getting back to... I accidentally closed it. Our ArtFight reference. I'm going to actually try to get a better view of salt specifically in this sort of silhouette thing now. We can put away the setup one. Oh, the other thing I did in the setup that was good, I'm going to repeat that again, because it wasn't in the ref, is I'm going to counter tilt the head. Partly because that actually fits with Salt's sort of hat thing going on. And partly because it also works better with the silhouette in general to give a better contrast, so. I want to add some more stuff to make this hat a little more distinctive. Still not quite where I'd like it to be on that front. That'll do for now, though. And then, of course, she's got the cape thing going. Whoops, that's the wrong brush. The cape going. Various capes, so we'll deal with that. Keep this part fairly simple. Okay, let's actually get onto lines, shall we? Go to, like, I don't know, 70 feeling good? Maybe even a 60 with this one. Yeah, let's actually start this. Step 1 on this, I have found that starting with belts has been good. Just to have a little bit of flair. If she's leaning like that, then really the flare is all going to be in the back, isn't it? Okay. So it's not like a sneaking pencil skirt or whatever. Even, that's the word balloon again. Why is it there? Just need to like go into this and then go into like that. Now it doesn't look like the lasso, maybe. But hopefully I won't mistake it again. Okay, so we got that. And we've got these boots, which I'm going to probably aim to make a little more rigid than they have been. Yeah, we need to sort of match the angle of the leg with those. Let's get back to a more reasonably sized racer for our new reasonably sized lines. And I'm sorry if anyone's in chat. Okay, good. Because I can't see it at the moment because I've got the reference up. Really ought to have both references up if I'm honest. But let's see. That, and then knowing that it's got like a kind of funkiness going on with that. We'll start with that. Again, we don't need to get more detail on some of that. Not yet, anyway. Okay, that's better. Yeah, because we're gonna have to, well, I'll have to figure out the wrinkles and stuff there, but that's a problem for later. Problem for now is getting the taper of this right. I don't know what this song is, but it feels so grand, like grandiose majesty stuff, that it's kind of distracting. My brain's like, you must be missing out on something important. The music is too grand. I think it's from, I mean, it's definitely from Stardew Valley, so. We'll do actual fingers. Trust me. We just might not do them at this stage, but maybe we should, because, like, rushed fingers seem to not go so badly for me compared to... Well, okay, hold on. Before we commit to that... Like, turning into dragon claws a little bit. No. Oh, that's why. It's because the bottom part didn't swivel down, so it didn't make sense to then swivel up. These are still... That one's too long. And bends the wrong angle, I'm realizing. We'll come back to that. Oops. There we go. See, I'm trying to think about what that's gonna look like. Oh, it looked like that. I can just look at my own darn hand. Sort of get the hat going in there. We don't want any weird overlappy tangent stuff going on there that we aren't anticipating and doing intentionally. Okay, let's... Shouldn't be getting into that kind of detail yet, but kind of wanna. Okay, let's continue on the hair. And I know I've tweaked Salt's hair a little bit, and also the way I draw faces. So we'll see how far we can get on the face. This may be where the rest of our time gets eaten up, frankly, but... Wait, that puts her other people off of her face, which might be something that could work, but we'll see. I feel like with this pose, she really ought to be looking towards the viewer, though. At least a little bit. Doesn't have to be facing us, but should be glancing her. Those eyes look kind of too tired for her, frankly. We'll tweak that. Nope. Wow. All these times I've tried to draw lipstick and it never looks like it. Now I've learned you just, like, get the right squiggle and sticking everything looks like lipstick. Dagnabbit. Nope. That perhaps hyper-stylized mouth isn't quite doing it. Hmm. Man, I have figured out just about every possible way to stylize a mouth except the one that I'm really liking. I mean, not every way. There's still many, many more ways we could do it. Before we get too caught up on that, let's put the stinking neckline in the right place, how about? And let's work on the rest of this outfit a little bit more, because we've got 2.5 minutes left on this timer. And, let's see. I want that tangent line with the outside, but I am going to sort of steal the inner line and just use it for my own new nefarious ends. If she's leaning like that, technically, shouldn't these be like furling in a little more? Okay. Alright, almost forgotten this strap, which is probably going to affect folds and stuff, but, like, you know, we'll get there. Keep the bag mostly out of view at this angle. We'll see a lot more of it from the other side. Okay, now we can do some actual, like, tweaks on stuff a little bit. Example, actual, like, pants visible a little bit, I suppose. Narrow this boot just a hair. I'm kind of liking that more. Clean up. Cool. Okay. Looking at that without the silhouette underneath it, arms are obviously way off, and the way the hat connects to the head isn't quite working right. The angle's off. Salt almost looks like she's looking too far away from us. Let's tweak that. We'll throw the silhouette back on here for just a second. I've got 8 seconds left. I don't think we're going to be able to tweak that in our initial timer, but, I mean, look how much further we've gone. Yep, there it goes. Oh, I guess it doesn't pick up on that. Oh, rats. I was holding it up to the mic and everything. Oh well. So that was 20 minutes. And, I mean, sting, look. It's Salt. We've got some tweaking to do, but it's an excellent first pass. Looks fun and lively. We can do a lot based off of this. I should probably just delete layers sometimes, but I just never do. Because you never know when it'll be useful. I'm just dunking that in setup. We'll label it. We'll chuck it at the top so that we know it's newer. there's still some proportions that are off on this, I can tell. Part of it is the cloak, and that's a very 2D edge that we're going to need to tweak. So why don't we take the rest of this stream to do line tweaks and improvements and stuff. Now that we've got a baseline, literally, we can do some improvements on that. Next time, we can throw all in on those, getting the flats, shadows, highlights, and then the hues. Which I'm actually going to throw a text layer in here just to make sure we get these steps in the right order. Eyes always like this. Size like 30. Color like not that. Size like 15. 10. It always goes slightly too far. Let's check mark it to make sure it saves. Throw it at the top. Let's hide it until we need it. I just want future me to know what we were thinking as present me. Given that, unfortunately, that our return stream is right into our stream pause. We'll see if we can do some makeups, but I'm not going to make promises. The whole point of this is to avoid burning myself out if I can help it. So instead, let's have some fun with the lines. First off, duplicating layer, pulling this one lines back up. If we make tweaks and we end up hating it, we'll just have that as a backup. Because I don't want to necessarily do like a fresh layer for hand and then have to go through and do a bunch of stuff and you know. Part of this is because of the constricted proportions from Entrapta. We've ended up with like limbs that are slightly too wide, I feel. Part of that is also just the interesting style choices I made with some of the limbs while we were going at it. But the point is, we just, you know, went for it. Got it working. Better to have something in there we can tweak than a bunch of stuff in there that we can't. Kind of like this sort of sitting flat against it, because that's what would actually kind of happen. Like that angle's not super making sense. But then that implies that this is sitting flat against the arm, and like, I don't know, maybe we want it to be a little more billowy. That said, this angle is still definitely wrong. Okay. So got that. Good. I didn't undo too far. Oops. Oh, right, this. Sometimes when you undo too far, it's like you're time traveling and you're like, oh no, I'm back here. Hey. Clear that one out and let's get a vertical gap going here. That in. We'll start with that. Ah! Surprised that didn't cross over at all, but I guess not. Okay. Kind of an elbow thing going there, and then this hand, while fun, and like could be justified being large for foreshortening, is a hair too large still. Let's just chill on that a little bit. Like, it doesn't have to be tiny, but it needs to be smaller than it was. Oops. Gotta be real gentle on the pressure with this one. The challenge with taper lines, and the thing I dreaded, which actually hasn't been nearly as bad as I'd feared, is combining tapered lines. And still sort of like smoothing out those connections. The vector tools and the vector eraser certainly help, but even so. Okay. Probably going to want to rotate Salt's head a little more than it is. We'll get to that though. Let's think about, is the hand looking reasonable first? If we were to say, lose the silhouette. I'm going to glance at that Entrapta one reference again just to sort of see how that one was doing it. Ah, okay, that one had it pushed more further back as opposed to just kind of out, which I think is more enthusiastic. So let's aim for that. Why does my screen feel brighter all of a sudden? Oh, it's because I don't have Spotify blocking part of it. Oops. We want to be online. And this is why we have lines back up, so we can do that with confidence. Let's see, because we want to make sure. Ah, that's it. We want the arc to be more like that. Trying to get the overall arc of the hand so that we'll be able to show this. And then we can come in and actually do some cleanup. Oops. Oh, really? I thought that would have crossed over there, too. Oops. Okay. Ah, okay. We can, you know, stylize this a little bit, but probably not going to worry about nails too much. We don't want to get into too many realistic details and stuff. I say as I'm drawing the knuckles. Thing to remember with fingers is that the arc is always going to be like, not literally on the bottom, but like when you're doing the end, it ends up looking kind of sausagey if you just do an even arc, because that's not really how they are. And for whatever reason, my brain's default is to do this, which looks like a subway train, not a finger. You actually need like the flat part to be on the top and the curve on the bottom for it to look like a finger a little bit. Which I say instructionally, but I only just realized like 20 seconds ago. Okay. So hopefully that's right, but it seems to make a lot of sense now that I've said it. Still feels like it's facing down and like it has way too much detail compared to everything else. I mean, look, I want the important details, but like, let's keep it simple. Don't worry about those. See what I mean? Like, my nature is to try to curve the return, and I really guess I shouldn't. Because, yeah, this looks more believably fingery. Ah, again. Lost some of the exaggeration, and the result is that pinky finger looks slightly broken, and the hand looks too... Part of that's because the details I added make the rotation of the fingers wrong. Part of that's because the silhouette also makes the rotation of the fingers wrong. And also, I just... some of that arc was bad. Like, this one I think is fine. Let's see, if your hand's like that... It really is more of like a top view. It's just the top view happens to be over there and the thumb happens to be different. I'm checking Entrapta again. Hold on. Yeah, it really is just like a flat top view almost. Oh, and I've seen a lot of people do this like the middle two together, and that way you're kind of only dealing with 4 fingers, or 3 fingers really, even though you're dealing with 4, and then the thumb, which is a finger functionally. Like, people get pedantic about that, and I know I like to get pedantic about things, but that one's... People only get pedantic about it as like a prank, Like, in an academic setting, sure, whatever. Like, if it needs to be... If the detail is needed, go for it. But, like, if you're trying to prank people by asking how many fingers they have and laughing when they say 10, that's not a great prank. Like, I like stupid jokes, but that's a really stupid joke. Let's see. I like this finger. But we'll have it in the VOD, so... I like those fingers too. We've had some good, interesting fingers. None of them right for salt yet. I'm gonna take that, and I'm just gonna cut the layer into its own thing. Hand, probably in quotation marks, dunk that into setup. I'm getting too precious with it, but this is a way of throwing it away without literally throwing it away, so let's at least do that. Oh, the big thing is I kind of want the twist of the wrist to even be like, hey, focus on that there, and then the thumb is, wow, like way off. Okay. So two things. I'm going to go for larger fingers, and I'm going to start from the pinky first, because it's kind of defining how, like, the angle of the hand more. So... from above, no, I don't like that. My finger's got to be like this. No. Ugh. I think you look a little too big, probably. Yeah. This is, like, grotesque. And there's some styles that this would work in, but not this one. Yeesh. Oh, we've only got 6 minutes left. I should probably focus on some other details while they're on my mind. We'll come back to the hand, don't y'all worry. Guess we've still got some line work to do afterwards, that's fine. Add another hair there just to soften the influence of the neck. I'm going to make sure the hat is defining the top of the head here, really. Because that's what we want. Although I do want the angle to match the rest of the hat overall, so... And we're thinking about shifting the angle of the head entirely, so hold on. Let's exaggerate that a little bit. Because it's fun. Let's, like, give the fabric a little bit more stiffness to it. Round that off a bit. Oh, I like what that line's done too, actually. Not a ton of detail, but like a little bit. See, I don't want that to be mirrored, but... There we go. Simple wrinkles. I'm starting to get the hang of those a little better. And where they ought to be, which I'm not sure they ought to be up here, but we'll see. We'll consider it. I may have to check other references for that, but we'll see. Assault's original, like, tunic is a little more pleated. Like, it's a little more flare because of that. If we... try to recapture that a little bit, and this looks bigger. There's a start. Sorry, I don't mean to go silent here. There's just so many little things that I can sort of work on. I like that flare. That makes it more believably pleated when it's in a less action pose, which is really the goal here. We gotta have it like catching on this a little bit too. This is supposed to have some depth to it. That bump really ought to be on this side of it a little bit. Okay, cool. That one kind of works because the way it's already going. We'll get more detail on that as needed. Ankles are weird. Feet are weird as always, but they don't need to be like crazy good detail on these. Just have to be good enough. It's not like medieval shoes were amazingly well fitted anyway. Do want to make sure this lines up with that though, mainly because it'll help with coloring a lot later. I think it's worth having that be kind of a different line for making the arc of this a little more consistent. That should. And the art consistency is fine, but like shouldn't have done that other stuff. The repeated line overs, meh. Clear out some of that stray stuff. Ah, no. Off of the eraser with the... Try to get these two. Slightly nicer quality of lines. Anything crazy on some of this, but try to make this look a little more believable. Make any of these weird interactions sit in places that make sense. There we go. Ah, no. There we go. That looks more believably like fabric that's wrapping underneath the shoe. Get rid of some of these stray edges. Have some of the lines there. Makes that nicer. Line weight is obviously not going to be great with this line work because we're just sort of blasting through it. Even so, like, this randomized line weight is still adding a texture that's fun and not too distracting, so I'm kind of inclined to leave it alone for now. Alright, that's the bag. If we want to clean up line weight later, we can, but that's not, like, on my immediate to-do list. Well, that's a vector line. Let's just scoot it out of the way. Yeah. And we can clear it out there. We don't want a tangent there if we can help it. This part I'm still not thrilled with just because there really shouldn't be that harsh of a delineation. Oh, that actually kind of works. Let's put the sleeve a little low on her, though. That's better. Carries it up without being overly weird. Yeah. Perfect? No. Better? Yes. And that, I'm just going to have to hope I remember, is the cape. It's a cape. Who am I kidding? Not a cloak. You're fooling no one with this, Sifamir. Oh, that's better. Some fun details, but hopefully not too many. We may need to chill on this one a little bit, so it's not overly distracting. This part of the cape, I don't know. The physics make sense. It looks good. I'm happy. Don't want a tangent there, of course, but the real way to do that is just smooth this line like right into the edge, and it's already pretty heavy, so. Okay, there we go. Belt probably ought to be more continuous and solid. Could add a belt buckle of sorts to it if we really wanted. I know it's been kind of sash-ish up to this point, which is... Whoops. Okay, hold on. Okay, never mind. Let's not bother with that. We could add like a simple belt. Some kind of cartoony that locks that in. That's not bad. I've been enjoying this brush. I'm usually not one to go for these, whoops. Oh, whatchamacallit. Tapering brushes, because it's a lot more effort to try to control the taper. But now that I've got, like, the tilt sensitive and the pressure sensitive tablet, like, it's kind of opened up that whole world to me a little more. I mean, the other one was pressure sensitive too, obviously, but, like, otherwise, what is the point of a tablet? Okay, probably have to merge some lines at some point, but for now, we'll leave these as they are. Yeah, I don't know why I'm, like, insisting on closing up my lines. It's not like I actually have to do that. It's not like I was necessarily planning to do it everywhere, but there's a part of me that likes to make things concrete, so... The option to make that cover just a little bit over... Yeah, worth it. The neck out from there, because it wouldn't be visible. Neckline, like, I don't know, probably ought to be a little further back. Just both age and physical. I don't know, that's just sort of how people are shaped. I think, I don't stinking know. I haven't practiced anatomy nearly enough of late, I'll admit. I know we've gone overtime, but you know, we're kind of in the groove at this point. And while I don't think we're going to finish all the details tonight, we're in a good spot to work on them. And so I kind of want to keep working on them while we're in the groove. Like the other foot that I totally didn't balance at all. Okay, wait, hold on. Also... There we go. Still makes... Well, the fact of the matter is that her knees are, like, down here in the boots. So they're gonna make her legs look kind of, like, weirdly stubby anyway. That's probably something that I can still improve. Could bring down the joint just a little bit. At some point that makes the gemstone look out of place a little, but, like, I don't know, that's fixable too, technically. A little bit more of a pain to fix, I'll admit, but... That kind of makes it match this other one better anyway, too. I don't like the idea of the boots being just slightly too big. Oh, okay, that's the problem. Was that the line that was in the way was the good one. Well, we'll just have to make another good one. That's like maybe a little more narrow too anyway. Good excuse to tighten that up a little bit. sort of see her leg in there a little bit. My line weight's getting heavier as I get closer in on the details. I need to be careful about that. Okay, then we need to sort of fix this one up a little bit too. Starters to make it look like proportionally the same shoe. I could copy it over, but it is at a different angle. And like, at least theoretically, based on the Entrapta one, I mean, I've got these shoes like a lot higher angle than the Entrapta one, which is kind of fine. We can just make it look like she sprinted up and then was doing that cartoonish stop. Just straight up skidding. I know CSP has a tool for that sort of thing, but like, more fun to just do it. Oh, come on, really? I feel like the angle on this one probably needs to be like a little more up anyway. Like, not symmetrical to the other one, but I'm gonna try to just get like some of the old stuff out of the way. Without the old stuff, we couldn't do what we're doing now, but now it's time to move on a little bit. It's not like a commentary on society in general. It's just true of like these lines here. Just feels like the kind of thing that someone's gonna like intentionally misquote. Be like, whoa, so inspiring, we need change. And like, no. Chill. Like, I mean, not to say we don't need change, but like vague, misquoted affirmations on the internet are not the change we need, you know? Does look a little bit like she's like on the verge of breaking her ankle. That's not ideal. That's better. I mean, obviously there's still proportion issues. One of those needs to change. It's probably this one. At this point, I don't think the angle's the worst. Well, let's have a go at that. It's a start. See, looking at that, it looks like the hand is still a little too big, frankly. Let's maybe chill on the hand a little bit. Salt doesn't have gloves or anything like that. Cool. I don't like that that feels more like the right size, even with these ridiculous looking proportions. Let's start with that. We need to go for the more curved tops because we're in this overhead view. One of these is on top. It's going to be this one from our perspective. I don't like that one. We need a little more shape to it. Box off the end just a little bit. I feel like that finger's in the wrong perspective compared to the others. And I feel like that because it definitely is. There you are. Knew something was out of place and that line was a little too blobby for its own good. No, not after all that work. Let's see, we're getting some interesting ways to cartoon and stylize hands. It's just, they don't feel right for this. Also, that bend is like, oof. Little much. This one's still in kind of a side view. Like, the fingers are just creeping more into side view as we go. Still, they're looking like, you know, the way fingers probably oughta, so that's not bad. I mean, like, generally speaking. Really? Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I don't know, that's like a hand. That kind of kid proportions, but Salt is kind of a kid, so... kind of, completely. So that makes sense. I was thinking, how does elbow look from that view? Really, this ought to arc the other way, isn't it? Like, they both kind of ought to arc just a tiny bit the other way. Whoops. And this hand is... Oh, I remember the pose I was going for with this hand. Got our backup, so it's fine to just clear it out. See. Kind of almost like a pinching of the hat. Loosing this in for reference. It's ominous to say the least when it's like that. I think I had the eraser on. Usually I have the eraser when I don't mean to. It's rare that it's the other way around. Okay. Here's the catch with all this. To say the least, which is to apparently forget to speak for a few moments there. I'm kind of planning on rotating the entire hat on her head, and also her head itself a little bit. To get, like, slightly less three-quarters-y. So we'll see. More head-on fingers. Just what I wanted. Whatever angle the hat ends up at, it ought to end up in her hand a little bit, though. Partly because that was the pose that Entrapta was doing, and so we're building off of it. And partly because that's just fun. Okay, so we've got this face. Let's say goodbye to the face. Sorry, face. Why we have the face back up. Zippin', zappin', doodle-doppin', I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. None of those were words. Okay, zip-de-doo, bye-bye to you, face. Should've just used a bigger eraser. Bigger thing to erase. Could've rhymed. Didn't rhyme. Rats. Always hate to miss out on an opportunity to naturally rhyme. It's just fun. Those don't turn up too often. Let's see, we're not quite side view, but we're gonna be close. Or not quite front view, sorry, but we're gonna be close. A really scraggly nose, we can get some fun shadows with that, but not the goal today. Maybe getting a little heavy on the line work there. Not a very salt expression, but a fun expression. Kind of like the slightly scragglier bangs that we'd had in that original ref. Like some actual like stray hairs and stuff going on. I gotta get this expression off of her. It looks ridiculous with salt. Aiming for younger, let's go for more rounded face. Let's see. That's gonna flatten off some of this, depending on the angle of it. I think it's coming too far off to the side on that one. Yeah, okay, here we go. Get that out of there. Okay. Ears are still pretty simple shapes, actually, all things considered. Try to make these glasses the tiniest bit symmetrical. We'll just start with that, honestly. I guess if she's doing an abrupt stop, really, these particularly bold hairs ought to be like... Yeah, there we go, there we go. Ah, no, I want that line. It's an important line. Now we need, like, pretty big eyes even inside the glasses, I feel. There we go. That's feeling better. Ah, I've got something in my eyes. Oh, what is that? Ow. If it's my hair, then that would be karmic payback for the long hair I've given Salt. We can, like, lower that cheekbone a little bit. Oh, really? The one line I wanted. Ah! I guess that hair's gonna just block that whole mess anyway, won't it? I don't like using cheats, but also that's literally how that actually should be doing, what should be happening, so, you know. You can aim a little wider, but oh, actually that's not first. Not super believable, though. Even with our kind of cartoonized, what we've been doing. Let's perhaps have this hat following a very different arc. Oh, really? There we go. Still in an angle, but not the same angle. Maybe slightly too harsh. Let's try this thing. Let's try something that's more like... This hat's becoming more exaggerated every time I draw it. Oh, I'm liking this song. Which one is this one? Winter. The wind can be still. Man, the winter soundtrack, the fall and winter both, but the winter soundtrack is so good in Stardew. And I, like, never stinking get to winter. Is it possible to straight up lose Stardew? Like, can you just go broke completely? Or, like, are there just, like, safety mechanics that'll save you from ever completely botching it? I guess, like, you always get your tools back, and so theoretically you could always just, like, go to the mines and get some monetary stuff there or something like that. Oh man, I really liked the arc on that hat, but it's just not the right arc for the current angle of it. And granted, this ain't either. Oh, funny, I've just got the patch now. Which is also in all the wrong spots. Where was it before we moved it? Okay, it was like that. Yeah, it's definitely still not right, but we can start with it, like, instead of tilting it, let's just sort of scoot it over to relevance. And we can tweak it. Line weight tweak there. Oh boy, it's getting late and it's a work night, ain't it? Oh boy. But man, I'm just having fun with this, which is something, truthfully, that I haven't been doing in the streams a little bit lately. I mean, look, a lot of them have been a lot of fun, but I had also been getting a little bogged down on some stuff. So it's kind of nice to be able to just not have to do that. The hat's gonna need some work. Maybe we just start from scratch. As much as I like the patch. New plan we must hatch. From this angle, yeah, I'm not sure how much of the top of the hat we'll actually be able to see. Alright, line weight around the face is a problem. Shoes are probably both too big, honestly, but we could chalk that up to foreshortening. The angle on this one's a little off, given the angle of motion. But all in all, we've left this in like a usable state. And hopefully we'll be able to come back to it and make it good. Ah, okay, one proportion issue I'm seeing that we might be able to do an easy quick fix. I feel like the head ought to be bigger. Because we're going with like kid-ish proportions for everything else. Let's make this a little larger. That's feeling better. That's sort of helping balance everything else out too. Okay, I want to do a little bit on these just because they look like you. I don't know why you, but my brain's just saying like, eh. Man, clicking wrong button every time. Nice to know that that's what W does. I'm pretty sure I bound it to that ages ago when I used that tool more. Or perhaps it was just default like that, but I used to know that that's what that did and do it intentionally. Amazing how much my workflow has changed. Like, it changes all the time. It's funny how the ends, how like fingertips are so much boxier than you think. like, abstracting them as rectangles ends up looking more realistic than abstracting them as round. Pretty much every time. Which is so funny. Realistic's the wrong word, but believable. Okay. Still plenty to do, and we'll be able to see the top of the hat from the back, of course. Looking at our reference. Top of the built body doesn't look quite tilted enough to match the nice silhouette we'd made. Of course, the legs are still looking stubby, but that's kind of a given. And the face isn't where we need it to be. I mean, look, there's still stuff to tweak. But all in all, this has been pretty darn good, and we're going way over time at this point, so I probably need to wrap up so we can start uploading this. Still, I can't resist at least, like... Let's see. I don't know what that's... Oh, right, wrong layer. Okay. Let's just do a slightly more casual selection. Always clean it up later. Add a little more to this, of course. But actually, no, if we're going to be changing the line work, let's not do the flats yet. That said, I think my only real note for the lines right now is fixing this shoe angle, and then I'm going to say let's go ahead and go for it. Fix the angle. Not like our silhouette was doing a better job on that. Or the lines back up. So yeah, no... I mean, lines back up may have had a better angle, it just didn't have a better shoe. So yeah, I think that's... We've done enough for tonight. I think, you know, obviously we've done some very quick stuff. We've gotten pretty far, and then we've been doing some tweaking, which of course makes us get less far again. But it's worth doing. I want to try one thing real quick before we go. Does that... Whoops. Does this look better if we, like, make it a little more like that? No, not really. Does it look better if we make it bag out a little more? Also not really. I don't know, this line just doesn't look natural to me. That looks more natural, but is kind of worse overall composition-wise. That's a weird tangent kind of thing we're getting. Gonna have to be careful with that. Okay. Let's... Oh, yep, that's too much. But we can do some line width tweaks on this to make it less bad. There we go. Now, like, it'll still need to be fixed, but at least it won't be crazy heavy on there. Okay. Before we nitpick this to death, let's just call it for tonight. We will pick it back up next time. And that'll be that. So, thank y'all for sticking around. Hope y'all have a good morning, afternoon, evening, night, whenever it may be. And see you next time. I'll have a good one.